You're watching From the Heart with John Willard.
Hi friends, John Willard here, the gentleman poet, storyteller, and Naka contributor, back for another show and more bone-chilling truth. If you can't load up and come to the Ozarks, then come. Take the journey with me. Blooms are all aglow, soft drafts of perfumed light. Blue sky, white sun, and rolling green hills. Wind blowing makes the treetops talk. The changing seasons pulls us like a magnet to new adventure. Friends, I heard that the CNA Fest that we just had in August, with the beautiful lake, the mountains, auditorium with theater seats, big stage and wonderful speeches, the evening bonfire with roasted marshmallows, may be the same place next year. This is an experience I would like to see all CNAs enjoy. The pups and I were up at 4 a.m. this morning. After food for the pups and oatmeal and coffee for me, we took in the sights and sounds of the Ozarks. A nurse escorted a tired, anxious man to the bedside of an elderly man. "Your son is here," she whispered to the patient. She had to repeat the words several times before the patient's eyes opened. He was heavily sedated because of the pain of his heart attack, and he dimly saw the young man standing outside the oxygen tent. He reached out his hand, and the young man tightly wrapped his fingers around it, squeezing a message of encouragement. The nurse brought a chair close to the bedside. All through the night, the young man sat holding the old man's hand and offering gentle words of hope. The dying man said nothing as he held tightly to his son. As dawn approached, the patient died. The young man placed on the bed the lifeless hand he had been holding. Then he went to notify the nurse. While the nurse did what was necessary, the young man waited. When she had finished her task, the nurse began to offer words of sympathy to the young man. But he interrupted her. "Who was that man?" he asked. The startled nurse replied, "I thought he was your father." "No, he was not my father," he answered. "I never saw him before in my life." "Then why didn't you say something when I took you to him?" asked the nurse. He replied, "I also knew he needed his son, and his son wasn't here. When I realized he was too sick to tell whether or not I was his son, I knew how much he needed me. Although this man is gone, I remember, and these memories must continue to endure in the secret places, hidden in the cracks and crevices only to be visited through remembering. Touched by a loving heart, wakened by kindness, chords that were broken will vibrate once more. Let me share this fitting poem. If you sit down at set of sun and count the acts that you have done, and counting find one self-denying deed, one word that eased the heart of him who heard, one glance most kind that fell like sunshine where it went, then you may count that day well spent. Friends, the real workers are grateful that they may share in humanity's privilege of rendering service. I see the compassion in our CNAs and NACA. Support them. Sponsor them so they can be NACA members. Friends, I'm out of time, but remember, Nagi always said, when you're good to others, you are best to yourself. You can reach me on Twitter at JohnWillard47. And if you want me to come to your event, well, I still have my dogs. You know how that is. Remember, it's not what we gain, but what we give that measures the worth of the life we live. Until next time, friends.